Hello students, I'm Dr. Himanshu Kandpal, Assistant Professor English, Government MS College for Women, Bikaner. Today we will study the poem Our Casuarina Tree, written by one of the famous writers, Toru Dutt. Toru Dutt holds a prominent place in the early phase of the history of Indian poetry in English. Though she lived for a very short span and did not produce a prolific creative literature, yet the quality of her creative endeavor is unmatchable. Her maturity of thought and expression, and the blending of Western influences and Indian sensibility at a time when most of the Indian poets writing in English were imitating the Western content and poetic diction, lent her a unique place in setting new trends in writing poetry. Toru Dutt has left behind such a glorious legacy that even today we think of her as a marvelous young girl who died before her prime after blazing a trail of brilliance in early Indo Anglian poetry. Her choice of Indian themes, legends, and images to communicate Indian values was something new. Her poem, Our Casuarina Tree, is a befitting example of her poetic art. The poem Our Casuarina Tree is a beautiful symbolic poem harmonizing both matter and manner in accurate proportion. This poem has been hailed as Toru Dutt's masterpiece of descriptive nature poetry, which reminds one of the geniuses of the great romantic poet John Keats, whose poems combine beauty and truth. In this poem, Toru Dutt gives the description of a tree in her garden house in Calcutta, which to her stands as a symbol of time, present and past, as well as eternity. It also refreshes in her mind the memories of her lost sister and brother. The poem starts with an objective description, then the poetess relates it to her personal impressions of this tree at different times and links it with her childhood memories of her lost sister and brother. Here in this poem, the Arcazirina tree, the tree stands for a symbolic representation of Toru's past memory. Apparently, it symbolizes the rich tradition of Indian culture and philosophy, which played an important role in shaping the poetic and aesthetic sensibility of the poets. Among the poems left by her, the one that attracts especially our attention is the allegorical poem Our Casuarina Tree, consisting of 5 stanzas. In the first stanza, like a huge python winding round and round, the rugged trunk indented deep with scars, up to its very summit, near the stars, a creeper climbs, in whose embraces bound no other tree could live. In the first stanza, she imagined the rugged trunk of the tree to a huge python winding round and round. The creeper has indented deep with scars up to the top of the tree. One may also sense a similarity between the tree in the clutches of a creeper attempting to sap its strength and the 3 young Dutts in the grip of a killer disease, tuberculosis. But gallantly the giant wears the scarf, and the flowers are hung in crimson clusters, all the boughs among, wherein all day are gathered, bird and bee. And oft at nights the garden overflows with one sweet song that seems to have no close, sung darkling from our tree while men repose. Toru says the flowers of the tree are hung in crimson clusters. Toru tells us that a casuarina tree, a heaven for the winged birds and insects, is almost visibly alive, alive with the buzz of bees and with the chirping of birds. This song, sung from the tree, soothes its listeners and has a tranquilizing effect on man who relax and rest as the bird sings. For the poetess, the Indian tree Casuarina, which grows in the courtyard of her house and with which all the reminiscences of her childhood are connected. It is the symbol of motherland, and at the same time, it is the symbol of tenacity, strength, and tranquility. It grows firmly by roots in the earth. In the second stanza of the poem, Toru describes the Casuarina tree in a typical Indian graphic frame. When first my casement is wide open thrown, at dawn my eyes delighted on its rest, sometimes and most in winter, on its crest, a grey baboon sits statue like alone, watching the sunrise, while on the lower boughs his puny offspring leap about and play, and far and near Kokilas hail the day. A grapevine sits statue like alone, watching the sunrise. The second stanza is replete with the pictorial and visual imagery of the tree and the grey baboon and his offspring. In winter, a grey baboon used to sit on one of the branches of the tree watching the sunrise. On the lower branches, the offspring of the baboon used to leap about and play. Gradually, as the sun rises, the kokilas begin to greet the day with their song, and mesmerized Torudat watches sleepy cows that have yet not shaken off their lethargy on their way to the pastures. And to their pastures went on sleepy cows, and in the shadow on the broad tank cast by the hot tree, so beautiful and vast, the water lilies spring like snow enmasked. Further, Toru recollects her dead brother and sister with whom she played in childhood under the top of Casuarina, and once again in the verse the same chain of symbolic images come up: the tree, the motherland, the source of inner poise and tranquility. But not because of its magnificence. Dear is the Casuarina to my soul. Beneath it we played, though years may roll, of sweet companions, loved with love intense. For your sakes shall the tree be ever dear. Blent with your images, it shall rise in memory till the hot tears blind mine eyes. What is the dirge like murmur that I hear? Like the sea breaking on a single beach, it is the tree's lament and an airy speech that haply to the unknown land my reach. The beauty of the tree is no more than an added gift. Its actual importance lies in the fact that it is a part of that's existence, a reminder of family ties, of warmth shared by three siblings. The Abju, Aru, and Toru bonding was indeed strong. And in poem Sita, Toru mentions three happy children sitting in a dark room listening to a story, and then sighs because she knows that they will never again by their mother's side gather. Like Keats, she had to suffer a lot. She had seen bitter struggle for life and death, untold miseries after the death of her beloved brother and sister. And the fourth stanza is highly philosophical. The poet observes, unknown yet well known to the eyes of faith. Ah, ah, I have heard that wail far, far away, in distant lands by many a sheltered bay, when slumbered in his cave the water wraith and the waves gently kiss the classic shore of France or Italy beneath the moon, when earth lay tranced in a dreamless swoon, and every time the music rose before my inner vision rose a form sublime, thy form, O tree, as in my happy prime I saw thee in my own loved native clime. Here, the term unknown denotes not simply the native home of the poet, but also the world of the departed soul. The man who has the eye of faith can see the unknown as well as known. Yoga also says that when a man has an unwavering faith in the existence of the divinity through the art of meditation and poetry, nothing remains unknown to him in the universe because he lives on the plane of consciousness, usually felt as vacuum of the transcendental stage of samadhi. This is what exactly Toru Dutt feels here. Interestingly, Toru's mystical and spiritual approach to poetry is centered to her profound knowledge of great Sanskrit epics and scriptures. The music with which Toru refers here is not an ordinary music which we hear in our day to day life. It is the music of the soul, which once it is attained never dies and continue to vibrate with the highest loud in the mind of the seeker. Therefore, I fain would consecrate a lay unto thy honour, tree beloved of those who now in blessed sleep for a repose, dearer than life to me, alas, where they? Mayst thou be numbered when my days are done with deathless tree like those in Borrowdale, under where whose awful branches lingered pale. Fear, trembling, hope, and death, the skeleton, and time the shadow. And though weak the verse, that would thy beauty fain, O fain rehearse, my love defend thee from oblivion's curse. And the end of the poem, she absolutely transcends the mortal, materialistic, and mundane frame of mind and attains the power of love to overcome the negative forces of life like death and darkness, terror and fear. In this stanza, the words and the phrases like trembling hope, love, death, and skeleton, and oblivion are very suggestive. She means to say that a man of unflinching love and devotion never fears the blows of death. Toru does not express any desire to fade far away and dissolve. Their casuarina tree does not make her long for easeful death. Instead, even though in its timelessness mocks the transience of the human world, the tree is to her a support, a reminder of the joy she once experienced with Abju and Aro. So, in the final stanza, Toru Dutt, aware both of the Druidism and the customary tree worship in India, wishes to consecrate a lay in the Casuarina tree's honor. Coming to the conclusion of the poem, our Casuarina tree shows a perfect blending of feelings and forms, matter and manner. It contains what Eliot means by his phrase unified sensibility. It is a combination of both the East and the West. In form, it is very near to the Romantic and the Victorian poems. In theme, it dives deep into the unfathomable ocean of Vedanta and the Upanishad of the body and soul, life and death. For its mastery of construction of phrases and for rhythm and melodiousness, Srinivas Iyengar regards the poem Our Casuarina Tree as a superb piece of writing. It gives an idea about the poetic taste as well as about the craftsmanship of Toru. Why she loves this tree so intensely for this reason has been very emotionally and thoughtfully conveyed in the lines. Like, but not because of its magnificence. Dear is Casuarina to my soul. Beneath it we have played, though years may roll. O sweet companions, loved with love intense, for your sake shall the tree be ever dear. Not only for this reason, but its recollection ever has been providing delight to her. That is why she consecrates a song, a lay unto thy honor, and prays that it should be counted numbered among deathless trees. Her love for this tree is so intense and true that she wishes that it would stay in her heart forever and prays. May love defend thee from oblivion's curse. When we go through the poem, we feel that poetess is not only describing or reflecting over the tree, she recaptures the past and also immortalizes these recaptured moments of time. Commenting on the form, uh, perfection, form, and maturity of style and felicity of expression in the poem, K. Srinivas Iyengar aptly writes that the 11 line stanza form with the rhyme scheme A B B A C D D C is worthy of Keats himself in the organization of the poem as a whole, and the finish of the individual stanzas is the its mastery of phrase and rhythm in its music of sound and ideas. Our Casuarina tree is a superb piece of writing and gives us a taste of what Toru might have done had not the race of her life been so quickly run. This is all about the poem Our Casuarina Tree, written by one of the famous Indian writers, Toru Dutt. Thank you.